Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Please consider becoming a subscriber to the channel. Also, definitely weigh in with your thoughts and your opinions or your views on the topics that I discuss here. Look, I got to make this quick. Just some socio-economic commentary, I guess, regarding this type of show and the issue here. The black community, what it represents like 40 million Americans roughly out of a total of like 340 or 320 million Americans. And I have to accept the fact that we always throw out there that we're not a monolithic people. And with that, it doesn't just go across, maybe belief systems and politics or whatnot, but also when we get into our entertainment. And I'm constantly frustrated with the types of shows that are, put out here for black viewers, black audiences. But the people that put it out there, they're responding to what the trends suggest. The data probably strongly suggests that if you put money behind the stuff that's over on Stars Network, it's going to work. So when we have a show here like Swagger, the reason why I'm talking about it is because I'm trying to highlight it. I'm trying to showcase it as something, as some content that deserves and merits being supported. It's not street based. It's not violence based. It's not showcasing Black death, be it violence or be it the loss of life at the hands of substance abuse. It's about this 14-year-old kid in the DMV area who is trying to make it as a future NBA player. I salute. We are black people are always complaining about what's not happening and who's taking advantage and yada yada yada. But here on Apple TV Plus, are they going to get any credit? Is Apple TV going to get any credit? In other words, are they going to get any black dollars, any black subscribers who are tuning in because of a show like Swagger that's executive produced by Kevin Durant and I think his business partner, I think his name is Rich Kleiman. I know his last name is Kleiman. But the series is loosely based off of Kevin Durant's experiences as a teenager in the AAU, basketball circuit in the DMV, which you would have also seen from Kevin Durant's other project last year, PG County. There's something in the water or something. If you check that out, you kind of see some similarities between these two projects. So again, the creator, I believe, and the director is a veteran TV series, TV show veteran, Reggie, nice first name, by the way, Rock Bythewood. Now, I believe Reggie Bythewood was behind the team that was putting together New York Undercover. I think it was New York Undercover. I could click here and get his all of his production credits, but I'm pretty sure it was the joint with Malik Yoba and the Latino cat. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He kind of fell off the map. But I've always respected Reggie Rock Bythewood's work. He's kind of an unheralded hero, in my opinion, in the world of entertainment. I think his wife, I think her name is Gina Bythewood. And they've been doing this. They've been putting out authentic, down-to-earth content for years. That's going back to the early 90s with the New York Undercover. But it's funny, Reggie Bythewood hasn't been greenlit, for a series of shows on one of the premium cable networks. And maybe that's his problem. He hasn't been able to pitch anything that garnered that type of support. Maybe he wasn't selling the right stuff. If you look at a project like Swagger, maybe that's where the issue is. You sitting here talking about this. Well, let's dig into some of that because I got to keep it moving. But shout out to the cast. I just realized or just found out that Winston Duke M'Baku from Black Panther was supposed to play the coach in this, but he got injured on set when he was originally cast as Coach Ike or Icon, but he had to be replaced by O'Shea Jackson, Cube Jr., Ice Cube's son. And I think I think O'Shea is able to really come across. He really has been able to come across in just 3 episodes. That's all that's out there right now. Apple TV puts out a new episode every Friday for all of its shows. But he comes across as a very believable and caring and conflicted in his own aspirations. He's also dealing with the doubt or the regret or the disappointment and, depression of not making it as a basketball star himself after once being a celebrated, a high value prospect coming out of the DMV himself. I think in the show they mentioned he played at Georgetown at least for 1 year and maybe ended up in Europe, had an injury or something, whatever. Chanel Azoro plays Jenna. She is the mother, the single parent mom of the star character Jace Carson, who's played by Isaiah R. Hill. Tristan Wilds plays a business executive for a sneaker brand called Gladiator. He's in some episodes. Khalil Harris is a kid named Musa. He's like the point guard on the team. The Swagger comes from the name of the AAU team. Tessa Farrer plays Meg Bailey, who comes alongside as the business person. She's also a former collegiate basketball player. It's a white female that gets involved with Ike to help him out with the business side of things. Kuvin Wallace, I believe she was in an Ava DuVernay movie, but she plays Crystal, kind of the friend / maybe girlfriend, a little love and basketball vibe here, with Quincy and I can't even think of old girl's name, Sanaa Lathan's character in Love and Basketball. But a little bit of a vibe between these two as they text each other, play, practice against each other, and talk about, because she's also a highly coveted player as well, on in the women's game, obviously. Then there's also another great role on here is Tanya, the wife of Ike, who's played by Christina Jackson. So, like I said, we're only through 3 episodes. We're learning who Jace Carson is. You can get the parallels between probably Kevin Durant and his MVP, his mother. You can see that in Jenna. Now, the one thing that's funny here is I see a lot of brothers on social media talking about strong black women competing with black men, and all of this rift here between black men and black women. Jenna does quite a bit. She's the mother, what do they call them? Like the fierce mother lioness or whatever. But everything that she's doing is to get them out of the projects. She does have a job. She's also an entrepreneur. She sells some makeup products or some beauty products on the side. She leads a small team of salespeople. She works with she interacts with all these men on the show. Coach Isaac. She's pushing her son in morning workouts. She's a very interesting character to watch. Is she getting in the way? You tell me. Is she doing too much? You tell me. Is she overly protective? You tell me. Is she trying to exploit her son? You tell me. I don't know. I'm just watching the show. I think the actress is doing a hell of a job, and I think they're portraying something that's very authentic. Some of these, in my opinion, some of these black women wouldn't have to do what they do if the man was still in the home. But the father here hasn't been shown yet. From what we understand, he left years ago. He left this puzzle, interestingly, or the irony in this, but he left this hand-drawn puzzle for his son before he walked away. And now he resides in Florida from what they've let us know. Interestingly, if this AAU team wins this national, if they go to make it to nationals, that game would actually be played in Florida, where the father lives. So you get that storyline early on that Jace Carson might want to make it to Florida to show his dad what he's become without his help. Although he holds on, he keeps this map or this maze, he keeps it folded up in a plastic bag so that it can't be hurt. What you learned through the first episodes, man, they just build the world for this show. They give you all the key players. O'Shea Jackson, he's playing this character. Like I said, he didn't make it as a pro player. Now he's working in in some kind of fake Home Depot, Lowe's type joint as a stocker, and one of the people out on the floor that would help you if you were looking for some piping or something, some plumbing items and whatnot. But on the side, he's still chasing his dream. And he's going about trying to coach these kids the right way and avoid some situations that they've only hinted at. We don't really know his full backstory, but something was going on with him and his father, who was once his coach. And then there's also something going on with this guy named Lester something, who's a professional player, who offers to solve all of Ike's problems by sponsoring his AAU team. And that's what you learn here, is that obviously being married, baby on the way with his wife Tanya, the car that he drives, everything that's going on with Ike, you see that he doesn't have the money to do what he's trying to do. And he becomes he's very self-reliant and principled. He has a code and he doesn't want to accept help from the wrong people for the wrong reasons. And he says he wants to protect the kids who are underneath him. Let me get ready to shut this down because I really want you to check the show out. Another interesting thing that's going on here is the character Crystal, who's also a prospect herself. They have her coach. She's uncomfortable with how the coach he was actually working on her ankle. When we first meet her, she has a boot on her foot. Crystal comes from a 2-parent home. They both go to this private school, but the coach touches her leg as he's I don't even know why a coach would be examining the ankle unless he's also the coach and the trainer. But he starts going up higher on her leg and touching her, and she becomes uncomfortable about it. And that's something that's a theme or an arc that's developing for her, is this man she's supposed to trust, maybe he's a pervert, maybe he's a pedophile, maybe he's a creep. And she starts to, this starts affecting her. Like maybe she doesn't want to play basketball because she doesn't want to be underneath this pedophile. So it's that storyline is kind of new 3 episodes in. I did see that. I thought this was a 5-part, a limited series, but it is 10 episodes out there. So, there's more to come. The show will be running through, they don't have it. But there, November 5th is the next episode. I think what they do a great job of in this show, the way that they've presented it, is they show you how social media, because we just saw this with the name, image, and likeness situation getting approved for amateur athletes. And they're showing this, they're capturing the effects of this in here and basketball is an awesome sport. It lines up perfectly, even for the NBA. it lines up perfectly with drawing a follow or creating a following in on social media. And so Jace Carson is dealing with trying to maintain his status as the number one player under 14, 14U, I think is how they call it. The number one player in the DMV, and then getting going with all of the scouting, services throughout the country and actually internationally, and positioning him to go to the NBA. Now that, there's a little nuance there, because right now we still have the one and done rule in college, but then we have the NBA Ignite team, which some 4- and 5-star prospects are deciding to skip, to forego college altogether, and they have 8 to 12 positions that can be filled for 1 or 2 years with this G League team that's now coached by former Syracuse guard Jason Hart. So they haven't really dealt with that year that could happen before this kid can get to the NBA. So maybe, me being the critic that I am, and, a stickler for the details, that part of this really hasn't been addressed. But Isaac, having to protect his players so that the other coaches in this coaches coalition or whatever that runs all the AAU teams in there, some of those characters are a little shady. You see that Ike has a history with the oldest guy who maybe once coached him and took advantage of him. There's a lot of backstory to Ike that's slowly being peeled away and that we're learning about. Another thing that they didn't really show me, that I just realized this in reading an article, is Musa, the point guard of the team, is actually the assistant coach. Their father and son. Through 3 episodes, I don't think I've seen those two really talk to one another. So I was kind of dumbfounded to realize that Naeem, assistant coach Naeem, I believe is his name, is actually the father of Musa. Musa's an interesting character as well. Very personable young man. He's Muslim. They take some time he does like the comic relief, and then he's showing you a different side of the athlete who isn't headed a can't miss NBA prospect, and he might have to go the collegiate route, and he might have to actually depend on academics, for a career or something, not being a professional basketball player. So they do some interesting stuff with Musa. And then, through the course of the show, you learn about there's a Puerto Rican kid that's been brought in from Puerto Rico. And him and Jace compete with one another to be the number one player in the area. If you've watched the documentary, Something in the Water, you get an idea how many NBA players have come out of this area. Yours truly was actually born in PG County. That's about it too. Born there. But you see how competitive is. You think of a Michael Beasley and Kevin Durant all being on both being on the same team or in the same circle, and both of them going out to the Big 12, Kansas State for Beasley, Texas for Durant. So it's a lot to take in here. And then lastly, I'm talking about this show because it's not doing all that well with its numbers. Comparatively speaking, if you look at all the buzz around BMF, the Power spinoffs, this show, even the Twitter discussion that goes on after episodes of Insecure, none of that is really happening for this show. And I just think that's unfortunate. I saw earlier, it's at 5.9 on IMDb, which isn't that great. I think it deserves a little better than that. And then it's 63% on Rotten Tomatoes. I disagree with that too. It's at least mid 70s, maybe even low 80s in my opinion. Maybe high 70s to mid 80s would be kind of fair in my opinion. 82% of Google users like the show. So we'll see what happens. Again, I'm pulling for it. And shout out to Apple TV for doing some different stuff. And I got to get on out of here. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.